Do you struggle to get a discount off people when you're outsourcing stock, car boot sales, or antique fairs? Or do you struggle with face-to-face selling? Do you want to understand a bit about why? Today's video, Master Buying and Selling, Why Tone Matters More Than the Words, will take you through everything step by step. Okay, welcome. Thank you very much for clicking on and joining me. My name is Walter O'Neill, and in today's video, we're going to explore the art of buying and selling. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out as a brand new beginner, one thing is a constant. It is just as important on how you say something as to the words and what you actually say. In this video, I will demonstrate that this is actually a skill that you can learn. And like any skill, the better you are, the more practice you have at the skill, the better you are. And the better you are at the skill, the more success and reward you will receive. So let's explore the importance of tone and how mastering it can transform your negotiations and seriously improve your success. In this short video, you'll get to see the skills I have learned over years or decades of trading, from polite negotiation techniques to the power of active listening. You'll find out what that means too. To the impact of positive attitude and secrets of closing deals with finesse. By the end of the video, you'll have the skills you need to improve your success rate. So if we dive right in and start looking at the tips that I want to share in today's video. When you're speaking in negotiation, being right or winning isn't important. If you're buying or selling, what is important is to use a soft, friendly tone. If you want a discount, being abrupt and rude will get you nowhere. I've actually had buyers come up to me very rudely and tell me the item is only worth, I don't know, X amount of money. And they've made offers, sometimes half of what I'm asking, but they don't make an offer and talk to me properly. They're very rude and very abrupt and very casual, as in belittling. And I'd think to myself, that's absolutely fine. There's only one thing they've succeeded in doing, and that's digging my heels in. And in my head, I'm there thinking, do you know what? If you want it now, the price is actually double. I wouldn't sell it to you if I was in a sinking ship. I've even been at a car boot sale and people have been that offended. I've seen them smash a glass or something on the floor in front of them because they wouldn't sell it to the person. Being rude and abrupt really ain't going to get you nowhere. On the flip side, I've had people talk to me very politely, pointing out how they love the item, but ask me if I would consider an offer or coming down a little bit. And when they talk to me, when they're respectful, when they respect the item, when they respect me, I'm far more open to knock a few pounds off or to consider an offer. When you feel respected, treated fairly, and just valued, you're much more open-minded. And this works whether you're a buyer or a seller. Mutual respect, a nice soft tone. What would you rather hear? Let's say you're selling an item for £15 at a car boot sale, okay? And you hear this. Oh, I'll give you a tenner. Or, would you consider taking £10, please? Now, I understand I changed the words a little, but it was the soft tone as well. When when the buyer comes in and they're abrupt and they're rude and they're knocking the item down and devaluing the item, in their head they think, oh, well, if I make him think it's worthless, I'll get it cheaper. But they don't, because most of the time people have done the research, especially if they trade. My second tip would be to allow the buyer or seller to talk and actually genuinely listen, show an interest in what they're actually saying. Don't just stand there waiting for them to shut up to seal the deal. Be interested, show them that you value their opinion, and I'll explain to you why. Allowing a seller to talk can make a big difference in negotiation. When you engage with the seller in conversation about an item, right, it shows you value their knowledge, you value their opinion, their experience. This boosts their ego, it makes them feel good, puts them in a good mood. In turn, it can make them more open-minded to an offer or offering you a discount. On the flip side, if you're the seller and the buyer's talking to you about how they remember having one as a child, or they remember their mother having something, or something like along them lines, listen to the stories and the memories. Sometimes it'll just be a story and they'll talk about it and then they'll move on. But once they reminisce and the joy and the love and the memories come back. That's one of the things I say that is the reason people buy antiques in the first place. So let them talk, listen to their story, show a genuine interest, and let them talk themselves in purchasing the item. Show you actually care about their story and you're not just stood there waiting for them to shut up to get the money off them. And believe it or not, that the genuine care will actually show them that you value their experience, you value their memory, they value the item. It'll all transference and it will result in more sales. Now, one tip I always say, a great tactic to get a discount is to point out the flaw. Now, a lot of the time people will tell you do not buy items if they're damaged or flawed or anything else. All right. But it depends on the item. All right. If it's rare enough, a little chip ain't going to kill it. Right, but it does have to come in at a cheaper price. But if you're going to buy something with a flaw or a stain or a chip or anything, point out the flaw respectfully. Don't go in there, right, ripping them apart. Be as respectful as you can to get the price down, but do it right. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. I've had personal experience with buyers, right, who've picked up an item. We're going to use a Georgian decanter as an example, right? So let's picture I'm selling a Georgian decanter that could be like £100 decanter, and I'm selling it for £50 because it's got a tiny chip on the rim. And I've had a buyer come up to me very abruptly, pick it up. Oh yeah, that's a nice thing, isn't it? It would have been perfect if it didn't have that chip. Nobody's going to want it with a chip. And he proceeds to tell me how the item was worthless because it's got that little chip on there, and how nobody's ever going to buy it again, and how I'm asking too much money, even though I'm asking half of what it's worth if it was perfect. And then he proceeds to make me a pathetic offer. So let's say it's worth 100. I'm asking 50 because of the chip, and he might say, "Oh, I'll give you 5 or 10 quid." Now, two things happen there. First of all, the first thing that comes into my mind is, well, if it's so worthless, what the hell do you want it for? And then the next thing comes into my mind is, you ain't having it at any price. If that's what you think of the item, I'd put it in the car first and you wouldn't have it. And I have been at the car boot sale and I've put stuff back in the car to make sure they can't send someone else over for it because I don't want them to have it particularly. Now, there is a way of actually asking somebody, pointing out the flaws respectfully, and actually getting a decent discount. Now let's stick with the decanter as an example, okay? So you'd go, "Hello, I absolutely love your Georgian decanter. Absolutely beautiful quality. Really nice thing. I did notice there's a small chip on the rim. Are you aware of the chip?" And you give the seller a little time to respond, and they might say, "Yeah, that's why it's only £50." Or, "No, actually, I didn't realise there was a chip on it. I was just being fair with the price." And they'll come and have a look, and they'll say, they might come over and they might do a little bit of a discount or something like that. But you could always say to them, "I love the decanter. Beautiful thing. I would love to own it. I'm a little cautious with the chip. Is there anything we can do? Can we negotiate a little bit, please? Can I make you an offer, or can you do a little bit of a discount, please?" Believe it or not, being respectful of the item, being respectful of the seller, the worst they're going to do is say, "I'm sorry, that's my price." But they'll talk to you tidy, right? But more often than not, they might say, "I actually priced her at £50 because of the chip. Otherwise, it would have been 100. But what I will do as a gesture, I'll just give you an extra fiver off." That is more than the other person had. But there's also this side of it. Be respectful of the items. You have no idea what that item means to the seller. For all you know, it could be a deceased relative's house they're clearing, somebody they loved, somebody who treasured the item, somebody, the memories they have of the items. Right? Be respectful of people and their items. Now, one of my biggest tips is positivity. It sounds dull, doesn't it? But let me explain to you, right? Positive attitude and what it actually means. So have you ever had a great day, a day you loved where everything seemed to go right? The sales are flying out, you're walking around, you're finding amazing stuff, and it seems to be coming in for next to nothing. Or when you talk to the sellers, they're giving it to you for nothing. Yeah, we've all had days like that. We have. And explain the difference to you now. So on the flip side, you had a bad day. And I mean a really bad day where you get difficult customers with worse offers. And all you see are overpriced items, baby clothes and toys, with buyers who always say, do you know what? It's worth. Have you seen what it's worth on eBay? I won this and I won this. We've all had days like that, and believe it or not, you are creating them days. Your mood is creating them days. It's the reason it seems that everything kicks you when you're down is this. When you're fed up and annoyed, it comes across in your mannerisms. You're abrupt without even realizing it. Your facial expressions are off. You appear closed and unapproachable. So if you're selling, you could be losing customers who take one look at you at the stall and think, I ain't even going to talk to him, not the mood he looks in. You don't know, right? Maybe you're talking to people on a stall and you're just being abrupt. It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. Right? You could be asking them the price and you could be snappy or abrupt and they just thinking, whoa, standoffish, right? It's the tone, it's your facial expressions. Alternatively, if you're happy, bouncy, in a good mood, and you're walking around, you're cheerful, you're talking to people, you're chopsing, you're joking, you're laughing, it's transference. Your positivity transfers or your negativity transfers. When you're negative, you get tunnel vision, you can't see nothing, you're just stressed out. You create the good days, you create the bad days. You can have a good day even if nothing is there to buy or you have very low sales. You'll still harness your talking, communication skills, negotiating skills with potential buyers and potential sellers. You'll still leave the market with more experience than when you went. More repetitions, more practice. You'll still come out there a better seller or better buyer than when you went. So even if the money or the products are not there, still trying to be positive will actually benefit you. It's not, it's not a loss of a day. Now, have you ever been at the stall and you've been negotiating with somebody and you've hit a wall? So this little tip's called closing the deal. So let's say you've been chatting to somebody, they've picked, I don't know, let's use a decanter again. They've picked a decanter up off your stall, you've got 20 quid on it. So far, their highest is like £12 or £14, and yours is like £17, and you're a few pound away. You're digging your heels in, they're digging their heels in. Anyway, you step back, you think, I'm going to take a breath, and I'll leave them have a little time to think, and leave them have a little browse. They might be there at the stall for 5 minutes, just looking at the item, looking at other items, right? First of all, they may turn around and buy the item just by you giving them a bit of space, a bit of breathing room, taking the pressure off them, less pressure, allowing them to calm and relax and think. Maybe they won't, maybe they go to walk away, but you can then turn around to them and say, before you leave, I know we couldn't, do a deal. As long as you've had a good rapport with them and you've been polite with them, you say, I know we haven't come to a deal or anything. You came to, let's say £14. I came to 17. Or just say we meet at £15 and we're all happy. All right, that could be enough to get you the sale. You lose an extra couple of quid, but you get the sale. You get that extra pound or two off them. All right, it's another way of grabbing the sale because once they walk away from that stall, they're not coming back. Or you could always turn around to them and say, what's your final offer? Give me one last final offer. Let's see if we can do a deal before you walk away. I want you to have the item. You want to have the item. I want to get a sale. So let's see if we can do a deal before you walk away. And reopen negotiations. Do it politely. If you can introduce a couple of giggles or something, have a little laugh, lighten the mood, it makes a difference. So my final thoughts and conclusion are this. In my honest opinion, I find that if you are polite and honest with people, you'll get a much better discount. You'll have more sales. You'll find more people will be willing to work with you and your success will increase. Even if the answer is still no after you've been polite. Understand this. You have no idea of the real reason behind the word no. Maybe they don't have the money. You have no idea what they're walking around with in their pocket. Maybe they're having a real bad day. They're in a bad situation. Nobody knows what someone else is going through behind closed doors. Nobody knows the struggles someone else is going through. Being polite doesn't cost anything. So be polite, be respectful. They may not buy it today, but you know what? Payday may be next week. They might come back next week and say, oh, you still got it? Can we do a deal now? but at the very least, being polite, being respectful will build your reputation and your brand. Anyway, what do you think? If I've missed any out, please put them in the comments, and anybody who's watching the video can read the comments and they can see whether or not there's any more tips for tone. But believe me, it makes a massive difference. I'll give you a tenner to, would you consider a tenner, please? I understand I'm slightly changing the words, but you get the point. You can be abrupt or you can be polite. Makes a huge difference. And in this game, whether you're selling or whether you're buying, being polite, speaking soft and gentle, if you can put a few giggles in there, a little bit of light-hearted humor, anything that can just brighten the mood and make everybody a little happier, it makes things flow a lot better. That's my tuppence worth anyway, or at least that's what I've experienced over the years or the decades of dealing. It's taken me a long time to learn not to take offers personal. Now, when somebody comes in and they're a total a-hole, believe me, the item goes in the back of the car and I just say, you ain't having it no matter what. But that's just me because I'm stubborn and I'm pig-headed. But believe it or not, right, if someone comes up to me and talks to me, I'll do the damnedest I can to do a deal with them. Even if it means I take a little bit less profit because they've respected me. And that's the lesson I'm trying to get across today. It's up to you what you take from it today. If you can find that this will help you in your business, absolutely fabulous. It's how I work, how I operate. I always be polite to people. To be honest with you, I'm very careful on what I negotiate anyway. If I'm buying something for a couple of pounds that's worth £50, £60, I don't negotiate anyway, just give them the money. But if I'm dealing with trade, I generally ask for the 10% that they mark up to come down for trade. Or if it's something that's, a little more expensive, 50, 60, 70, £100, something like that, then I might try and knock 10 or 20 quid off. But one thing I don't do is a £50 item go in and offer 10 or £15. I'm never that rude. If you like my videos, please, I would very much appreciate a like and a comment. If you find value in my channel and you want to help my channel, then a free way you can do that is by sharing my videos or recommending my channel or even visiting my website. It's a free way of helping. Thank you very much if you got this far. I very much appreciate it, and subscribe for future videos. I'll see you soon.